Hello and welcome to this live edition of the, I don't know what's happening. It's the second reading of the Rwanda bill. And I've got some idiot talking in my ear. Should we go over and have a listen to the idiot? This is Michael Tomlinson, who's yakking away right now. We'll just go over to the feed. And I will knock up the volume so you can actually hear what he's got to say. Hello to everyone in the chat.
To the tune of millions
the vote's
of
supposed to be at
euros.
7 o'clock, might be a bit
we
later.
Need to hear more of that, and I'm very
Let's
grateful to my
it.
honourable friend. Let me come to contributions in the short time that I've got left from honourable and right honourable members. The honourable member for Strangford and the right honourable member for East Antrim raised a specific point that I want to address head on. This bill will apply in full in Northern Ireland in the same way that it does in the rest of the United Kingdom. It is explicit, it is on the face of the bill, and will always be the case, reflecting that immigration policy is a UK-wide matter.
All right, while Michael Tomlinson yaks away there, so just to bring this together, this bill, this is the second reading of the bill before it goes back to the House of Lords. Normally, it would just go through the Commons after a bit of a debate because the Tories had an 80-seat majority 4 years ago. They don't have that anymore. Now they have a 50 or 51-seat majority, but it's still quite a sizable majority, a much bigger majority than either Cameron got in 2015 or that May got in 2017. So, actually, it's a bigger majority than they got in 2010 as well, when they had to join up with the Lib Dems in order to form a coalition government. So what they're debating today is the Rwanda bill, and it's contentious because the liberal side of the Tory party, not that it is that they're not particularly liberal, but you know the more left-wing side of the Tory party, that's not too much of an oxymoron. It's too much for them. And the wingnuts on the right wing, the right wingers, it's too little for them. So no one's particularly happy, and we seem to be having a problem with our electricals tonight. That's a bit of a worry. If this broadcast just stops, don't worry. It's just my computer's turned off. There's been a dip in the lecky. Or maybe we plunged into darkness at some point if all the lights turn off. Tommy says, "Hello, Graham. How you doing?" I'm all right. So, normally speaking, this thing would sail through the Commons. However, there are rebels on this matter. People who are saying it's not going to work, and they're right because it's not going to work. This is the thing. No matter what happens tonight, no one is going to go to Rwanda. I will stake my hat on it. No one's going to be sent to Rwanda because it's not a safe country to send people to. Don't know if you saw the news on Saturday, but the leader of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is on the brink of war with Uganda, called the leader of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, called him Adolf Hitler, and hoped that he would end up the same way as Adolf Hitler, possibly alluding to him being dead in a bunker. So it's not a safe place. And the Tories are trying to use this legislation as a Trojan horse to try and take even more of our human rights away from us. They've already taken away our right to live and work and get married and start a business, build a house, retire in 31 of the richest and most successful and most democratic and most beautiful nations in the entire world. They've taken that away. They've taken away our right to roam around Europe as we see fit, whether that's internet roaming or whether that is just being able to spend a year in Provence. Now it's 3 months out of every 6 in Provence. They've taken those rights away as well. But of course, they have... my glamorous assistant. Thank you very much. My tea. Thank you. I've got tea. I'm going to in a moment. I'm going to pull it out of here. But yes. So where was I? I was delightfully interrupted for tea. I can't be doing these talks while I'm not having a. I should probably get an alcoholic drink, to be honest with you. Oh, hang on! It's Yvette Cooper. Quick! Turn the sound up.
Have all said that they cannot support the bill and are going to abstain tonight. Does he accept that this looks like the Prime Minister's breakfast meeting was a total failure? And does he accept this is just complete civil war in the Conservative Party?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the answer is no, no, and no. I am
No,
here.
no,
I have
no.
been in the chamber.
The answer is what
May I
ho,
turn
old
to my
chap.
right honourable friend and neighbour, the member for Bournemouth West, and may I thank my constituency neighbour for his delivery, for a powerful and compassionate speech, as he always gives. May I turn to my right honourable friend, the member for Clwyd West. He asked me to work with him, he asked me to be open-minded, he asked me to look at ways to make the bill more effective. In contrast to the previous intervention, my answer is yes, yes, and yes. He and I have worked together before, and I commit to continuing to work again with him.
Okay, I'm just going to turn that down because it's not very interesting. So, I was just saying that what some of the Tories want to do is use this as a Trojan horse to get rid of even more of our rights than they've already taken from us, i.e. our human rights. So not only do they want to seem to get us out of the European Convention of Human Rights and therefore under the out of the auspices of the European Court of Human Rights, which would take us out of the Council of Europe, they also seem to want us to take us out of the United Nations at this point. The United... They want us to give up our seat on the Security Council of the United Nations. Who would that benefit? Nobody. Oh, actually, no, it would benefit Vladimir Putin. If you think about it from that point of view, who benefits from all the shit these motherfuckers have done over the last 13 and a half years? There's only one answer. Vladimir Putin. That's who wins every time. Look at Jacob Rees-Mogg. His hedge fund company is, what's it called, this hedge fund? Somerset Capital. It's gone bankrupt. Even the Brexiteers are not doing well out of Brexit. The only person in the world who is like, yeah, this is going great, is Vladimir Putin. And the more rights that the government take away from us, the more Vladimir Putin is gets to say, haha, you see, I was right all along. They don't really have rights in the West. It's all an illusion, as he continues to gaslight his people for the next 40 years. Anyway, the GOP, the Republicans in America, have just blocked this massive aid bill that was supposed to be going, well, aid and military expenditure bill that was supposed to be going through the legislature over the pond. So Vladimir Putin's having a great night tonight so far. Let's see how far we go with it. I'll turn this idiot off, this immigration minister guy.
Serving on not one, but two select committees. Not only does he do that, Madam Deputy Speaker, but he does it with distinction and with diligence. I always like listening to his speeches. He had the temerity to suggest that lawyers may from time to time disagree with each other. What an outrageous suggestion he made. I'm only sorry that there weren't more lawyers in the chamber to hear that particular point. My honourable friend, the member for Broughton, made an outstanding speech. The inescapable, the inestimable, the irresistible logic of my honourable friend's speech. More people should have been here to hear what he said. It was absolutely logical. It was compelling. My honourable friend, the member for Torbay, I have turned to him before, and I thank him as well for being, as one of my predecessors, for his work in this area, for pointing out what has already happened since the Supreme Court, namely the treaty. My honourable friend, the member for North Norfolk, gave us actual numbers, not just a percentage, but actually turning it into numbers. And my honourable friend, the member for Gloucester, took us on a tour du monde. It is not just our country that is facing these challenges. This is a challenge of our time. This is a
Minister of State for illegal migration.
Madam Deputy Speaker, let me end with this. I have sat through this debate. Out of the 6.5-hour debate, I have sat here for more than 6 hours of it. I have heard every single speech from this side of the House and most speeches from the other side. I have heard every single frontbench speech from the Labour Party, and what was missing was a plan. Labour have no plan.
Yeah, they do. Someone died on the Bibi Stockholm.
Intervention after intervention. Where is the plan? There was chuntering.
Do you know what Tory's
from the
like?
Home Secretary from a sedentary position, Madam Speaker. Where is the plan? Answer came there none. There was a verbal vacuum. There wasn't even a cut and paste solution. There was no plan whatsoever. Contrast that with the clear determination of all of those on this side of the chamber to stop the boats. And
yeah, so Speaker, determined that they've done nothing that will actually work.
Order.
Order. The original question was that the bill be now read a second time, since when an amendment has been proposed, as on the order paper. The question is that the amendment be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Contrary, no.
The no is louder.
Clear the lobby.
Division. Right, so what happens now is they cut the sound and everyone goes off to vote. There's 2 division lobbies, which they have to walk through. It's not a case of an electronic vote or even a scrap of paper. You actually have to physically walk through a door, a bit ableist. And on the doors, there are counters, and the counters basically count up how many people go through. And the people who go through the yes door or the I door, spelled A-Y-E, they'll be counted as yeses. And the people who go through the no door, they'll be counted as the no. So they say eyes to the left and nose to the right.
Order. The question is that the amendment be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Contrary, no. Tell us for the ayes. Jeff Smith and Colleen Fletcher. Tell us for the noes. Mark Fletcher and Amanda Soloway.
So the tell us of the people who are at the end of this. After the vote, they'll tell the speaker. Leslie thinks it'll be voted through. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter if it does go through or not, because it's going to get held up in the Lords, and the Lords can hold this up for a year. So there's going to be a new government in a year's time. It is absolute reality of there's not much bigger room on this. What will happen if there is a no vote, which could happen if there's enough abstentions, choose not to vote, or if there's enough Tory rebels to actually vote against it, then it's going to look really, really dicey for Sunak, because it's all about confidence. It's leadership. But as Phil points out, has pointed out many, many times, the wingnut side of the Tory party, the ERG, the New Conservatives, they don't have a leader. Which is one of the problems. Why they haven't actually got the middle for Sunak. So they might end up rudderless. Who knows? There you go. The result is expected at 19:15. Thank you very much, Brian, for the €2 super chat. Stop the scrotes, says Brian. Number 1 priority. What's the amendment? Also can't hear you. Oh, you can't hear me? That's no good. Sorry about that, old chap. I'm just going to turn down the volume from the chamber there. You can hear people mooching about. They're all walking through the doors to say which way they are voting. You're mumbling below the level of the video. Sorry about that. The thing is, if I turn my volume up, it has a terrible, terrible habit of distorting when I get excited, which happens quite a lot. I'll have you know. Right, where was I? Turn your mic up. Okay. That's. Do you know what? I could go for the gain. Should I go for the gain? There you go. How's that? Is that really distorted now? Let me know how the sound is. It probably sounds bloody awful now. It looks like it's peaking. Oh my god, it looks like it's peaking really badly. Oh, I probably sound like a Dalek now. While no sound as Brexit is proven. Latest time for GE is January 25. When's the next parliamentary session supposed to start from SVAX? It doesn't matter because the process has got to be done a month before. It's like 2 months actually, probably before the final date that they can actually have the election. So it's well gone now. I think that the last date for getting something through in reality that can't be held up by the House of Lords, as the House of Lords can hold it up for up to a year. It's one of their rights. I think that date passed in November. So there you go. Much better. Down a bit. Just don't shout. Almost. Says to me. Just don't get too carried away. It looks like I'm peaking. Like I'm looking at my levels here, and I look like I'm peaking like a crazy bastard. So I'm just going to move that down a little bit. Clipping badly, and do look into a ducking filter. Well, yeah. Sorry, Cannell. Cannell's like a sound engineer, so Cannell knows what Cannell is talking about. Have you got a compressor? It'll help your audio levels massively. There is a built-in compressor on OBS, which is a program that I'm using at the moment, but it's not that great, I'm afraid. I don't think it's going to stand it when he gets the boot. He probably will win as well. That's better. Okay, is that generally better? I'm just going to knock it up a little bit more on the actual dial there. So I've turned it up on all the places where I can turn it up, I think. So hopefully you can hear me now. Also, when I bring back the desktop audio, I will have that set a little bit lower than me, so it shouldn't be as loud as what I am. Well, it shouldn't be drowning me out. Anyway, so yeah, the Labour amendment declines to give the bill a second reading, arguing outsourcing the UK's human rights obligations to a third country is both unworkable and immoral. So this is actually not the bill itself. This is an amendment to the bill that they're voting on at this point. And the Labour are right. It is both unworkable and it is immoral. I can't argue with that logic because it's perfect. It literally cannot be done. And there's a lot of Tories who live in a fantasy world. They live in a fantasy world where £250,000 a year is chicken feed, and yet people can live off 30 pence a day. That's the kind of messed up world that these people live in. You know, they're not like you and I. You know, they didn't actually have a normal childhood in any respect. Everything about their view of the world is warped and distorted in some way. And they're just the worst. Oh God, just seen me smog, nearly gagged on me tea. I'm just going to move this over a bit so you can see the words better. There you go. I'm not surprised. And yet Rwanda is insisting we stick to international law for Matthew Caddis. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Matthew. I mean, that is the maddest thing about all this. So two things, one of which, it looks like Rwanda could be on the brink of having a war with the Democratic Republic of Congo. Like proper hostilities. They've been fighting now since March 2022. Little skirmishes near the border. But if that blows up, then we're going to be sending refugees fleeing war to a war zone? A country? I mean, what? And then there's the question of, could we send them anywhere else? Could we send people to another country? But you've got to have this like mad balancing act, which is you've got to find a country that is desperate enough to want to take refugees from the UK and also not at war at the same time, which is a strange and weird balancing act that a lot of countries cannot quite put together. There's a lot of countries where I'm sure they'd like the extra money, but it's not politically expedient for them to bring refugees over from other countries because they're struggling with the amount of refugees they've got in their own country in the first place. And let's not kid ourselves. This isn't because we want to do right by asylum seekers or refugees or anyone, really. This is just so. It's performative cruelty, they call it quite a lot. Performative cruelty. And it really is. The chamber seems to be filling up here. It did say the results expected at 1915, but it might come a bit sooner than that. Australia sent them to Nauru, says Katrina. Yeah, so Nauru, a country that was desperate enough. Nauru in the 1980s had the highest GDP per capita of any country in the world. And then they ran out of the easy-to-reach guano, the bird shit that they sold around the world as fertilizer and explosive ingredients. The easy-to-reach stuff ran out, and their economy collapsed, and it was an ecological disaster as well. I see Nauru, it's a fascinating story. I see it as a microcosm of the way that the entire world is going. The easy-to-reach oil has run out, and instead of turning to other ways of making money, we're just going to be left with this both economic and ecological disaster by destroying the surface of the planet, which is what we've done. Or destroying the air in the case of what's happening with climate change. We've also got the news coming in from COP28 that they don't even want to talk about phasing out fossil fuels. Big surprise from a a conference in which is being the president of which is the CEO of an oil company. I mean, it's like what? And is using the summit to close oil deals with other representatives of oil conglomerates and multinationals, drillers and money men from around the world. And that decision is going to be made by, the final draft is going to be published at 11 o'clock our time tonight. So it's going to be a bit late. But here we go. Here we go. This is for the Labour amendment to decline to give the bill a second reading. What's Triple H doing there? I don't know who Triple H is. Doesn't Rwanda spend more refugees to the UK than the UK does to Rwanda? Well, at the moment we haven't sent any refugees to Rwanda, but yes, we do have a deal. The deal is that we send refugees over to Rwanda and they send refugees to us. So we send them refugees from Syria and they'll send us refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo or Burundi or the Central African Republic or Chad or Libya. It's up to them, really. Best input was from Claire Hanna, SDLP MP for Belfast South. She stressed the immorality of the bill, importance of the HCHR vis-a-vis the GFA, the EC, the European Convention of Human Rights, vis-a-vis the Good Friday Agreement. Absolutely, I mean, the Good Friday Agreement is based on the European Convention of Human Rights, and it's held as an international treaty under the European Court of Human Rights. Hang in there, Duke, you're alright. Look, if this goes through, the Tories are finished, and if it doesn't go through, the Tories are finished. So, yeah, I'm not too concerned either way. It's not like I don't think they're going to send anyone over to Rwanda. I just can't see it happen. Then again, I was one of those people who thought we wouldn't be so stupid as to vote to impose economic sanctions on ourselves. And then along came Brexit. The deal is to turn away those who need processing before they add to numbers that need processing. The government claiming assessments dropping. Yeah, exactly. It's bullshit. It's just bullshit. Informative bullshit. Okay, the tellers have lined up.
Order.
I don't think this will go through, this amendment. It might do.
The ayes to the right, 269.
No,
Noes to the left, 337.
The ayes to the right, 269. The noes to the left, 337. So the noes have it, unlock.
So that's a majority of 68 for the government.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time.
Okay, so
as
this
many
is the
as are that
actual...
opinion say aye.
Aye!
This is the
Contrary,
actual
no.
vote now.
Division, clear the lobby.
And again, they've knocked the sound off. So we'll be sitting around now waiting. So this is the actual vote. That last vote was on an amendment to say, let's not have this vote that they're having now. That was defeated by 68 votes. And now they're going to have another vote to say whether they want to go ahead with this or not. And I don't know if that was a good idea for Labour to put that amendment in. That might have solidified a few Tory waverers to actually go along with this Tory policy. So what I think that they're planning to do, the Tories, is that, well, what Rishi Sunak has admitted that they're planning to do is they want to they want to get this through today and then add amendments to it. Can she tell if the yes or no's are louder? It doesn't matter at that point. It's just essentially if sometimes the chamber's empty, sometimes there's hardly anybody there. And if nobody objects, then the bill will be passed through. You know, this is no one says if no one makes a noise, say, should we vote on this? And it just goes really quiet, then you won't have a vote. And it'll go through because it just assumes that everyone's happy with it. So you just have to make a bit of noise. Only has to be one person to stand up and say no or yes, you got on whatever it is, whatever the question the speaker asked is, and that's enough to make it go to a division, which is what they call going to vote. They call it a division. And the division bell by Pink Floyd, the division bell is the bell that they ring when there's a division to be made. And it sounds a lot like around the Palace of Westminster. It sounds like a dinner bell going off at school. And whatever room you're in, if you're in like a select committee room or you're in a pub, one of the many bars in Westminster, that you'll hear the bell go off and you'll be like, oh, I've got to go and vote. And you have to run off to the House of Commons to vote. Thank you very much to Watch Your Six, mate, for the super chat. It's time for a general election. Enough is enough. I couldn't agree more. I'm sick of these Tory bastards. They've been in charge for 13 and a half years and they've done nothing good in all that time. The only thing that you could possibly give them is that they legalised same-sex marriage. But that was done despite them, not because of them. And I don't think it even would have gone through had they not been in coalition at the time with the Lib Dems. Terrible album, says Die Standing. Hasn't the guy from Pink Floyd gone mad? Hasn't he become like a big Putin admirer or something? Dave Gilmour? Is that right? Am I just making that up? Was I just dreaming that? Especially if we end up with Braverman or Patel as PM. I mean, that would be the literal worst, even if it was only for a few months into the general election. As Phil points out quite often as well, because I originally thought, well, yeah, get Priti Patel or Sunak Braverman in as leader of the Tories, and they'll never get elected again. But giving them that kind of platform is dangerous because we're seeing what they did with the platform of being Home Secretary, which is absolutely absolutely vile what those two women did, and that Suella Braverman trying to incite a riot on Armistice Day. I mean, what the hell is wrong with her? She's just an evil, evil person. And all this money that's been spent on Rwanda so far, and it's got to go up. You know, they're talking about it costing over £500 million of your money being spent on this. All we've got so far is a picture of Suella Braverman cackling like a maniac outside what looks like a concentration camp in Kigali, the capital of Rwanda. Real Phil, thank you very much for the super chat, Phil. In 13.5 years, the Tories have actually achieved worse than nothing. Yeah, they've made this country demonstrably worse. They've made it more bitter, more divided. They've certainly made it poorer. They've made everything more expensive. They've reduced the quality of life. They've reduced the lifespan. You know, our expected lifespan is actually decreasing now because of the Tories. That is, the number of people that are coming over here in small boats has gone up under the Tories from 0 to over 100,000. The number of people waiting for over a year for an NHS operation has gone from 0 to hundreds of thousands. The actual number of people waiting for operations, or the number of operations people are waiting for, which is slightly different because some people are waiting for 2 operations, is 8 million. 8 million operations in the pipeline in the NHS. That huge backlog. Then we've got the courts, which also have a massive, massive backlog. If you are assaulted, you will be very lucky to get the person that you want to take to court, you accuse of doing it. You'll be very lucky to get them before a jury within 2, 3, maybe 4 years of the incident taking place. That's how backed up the NHS is. That's how backed up our legal system is. And then you look at the processing for asylum seekers, which was, in the thousands under Labour, it's now in the hundreds of thousands under the Conservatives. You're absolutely right, Phil, that they've done worse than nothing. Doing nothing would have been better. And I know I keep banging on about this point, and in a lot of ways, I won't shut up about it until the Tories are out, crushed as a party, hopefully never to rise again. The economy has not grown since 2007. 16 years ago. It's going to be 17 years. By the time the Tories are out, we're going to have 17 years of stagnation. But it's all right. We have grown the economy just in the last year by 3.2%. Unfortunately, when I say the economy, I don't mean our economy. I mean the Rwandan economy, because that's how much of a bump our 290 million so far that we've given them gives their GDP. Meanwhile, our growth is negligible. It's 0.1%. It's actually less than that if you chart it over the whole of the 16 years that the Tories, the 13 and a half of which have been under Tories, but since the credit crunch, since the Labour managed to double our GDP between 97 and 2007, and then the Tories picked up the baton, I should say, in May 2010, and they fell over, and they haven't been going anywhere since. But what has grown is our population. It's grown from about 62 million in 2007 to around 68 million now. 60 million, and it's gone up to 68 million. It's gone up by about 10%, which means that in real terms, every single man, woman, and child in this country is 10% poorer than they were in 2007. It's not supposed to be that way, but here we are. Right, here we are. The big vote, the big showdown, the big Kahuna Burger. Let me know if you can hear okay. So this is for the vote to go through, so we want the noes to be higher than the ayes. I doubt they will be, but it'd be interesting to see how close it gets. Also interesting to see how many abstentions there are. But I think it's going to sail through based on that 68 majority for that amendment. That's bigger than the Tories' majority. The Tories only got a majority around 50 these days. Oh, I thought that the Speaker was on her feet. The Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker. There's a film of me dancing in the vortex door. Okay. Captain Bart Roberts, it's a very strange comment you've put there. I'm going to have to just remove that, because I don't really want it coming up on the screen. So I'll get demonetised. And it's still there. Oh, great. Right, so that's still going on. I predict Tories will vote it through. Spineless. Yeah, indeed, they are. There are Aren't there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? That's a line from A Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim, maybe? Am I getting that right? I got that reference. I say good day to you, sir. I wonder where the chocolate teapot Hoyle is. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the Speaker and why we have a Speaker. So back in the day when we had the Parliament, back in the Middle Ages, a lot of the arguments would end in fisticuffs or sword fights, which led a lot of people to be deaded. And apparently the distance between the benches is the length of two swords. So if you're sitting down, you can't actually hit someone with a sword while sitting down. What they decided, which I think is a good idea, is instead of addressing someone directly and saying, you're whatever, you talk through the Speaker, which has this effect of being like, you know, when kids are like, I'm not talking to you, and then they pass a message on to someone within earshot. to say, tell them I said no, and then they have to say they said no. Oh, well, tell them I don't care. Okay, there we go. It is a little bit like that, but it's one of these conventions of the House that I think is quite a sensible idea, and it's adopted in parliaments all around the world. And I don't know if we came up with it. I probably didn't, but the idea of not actually just having two people having a slanging match against each other, they've got to instead address the speaker. Seems to make sense. It seems to calm things down a little bit. Oh, thank you very much for the £2 super chat, Captain Bart Roberts. It's very nice of you. Cheers. I'm not having to go at you. It's just probably don't want that on the screen. I don't think they look into these things too much. They get several petabytes of videos uploaded onto YouTube every day, so I think some of it will slip through the cracks. Viv says, I love Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim. Sunak makes Scrooge look like Mother Teresa. That's true. And at least Scrooge changed his ways. And the Grinch did as well. His heart grew 3 sizes, I think, by the end of it all. Mr. Corbett's goes to Danny Houston's version of A Christmas Carol. Very, very good. It's a Who our British comedy acting from the 80s. My favourite adaptation of A Christmas Carol, and I'm sorry if I lose some watchers, viewers, saying this just before the vote comes in, is A Muppets Christmas Carol. It's absolutely my fave. It's my fave. When Labour wins, I expect Graham to yell, we did it directly into the camera on the very first Labour social video after the election, or I'll be... Okay. I'll try and get a hat made that says we did it. That'll be good. Honestly, The Muppets Christmas Carol is absolutely fantastic. It nails some of the characters of Christmas Carol so well. Although it does have Michael Caine singing and dancing, which you should never do. Have you seen Paint My Wagon with Clint Eastwood? Not good. The Grinch has a pacemaker. I'm unsubscribing due to Muppets Christmas Carol. Says Michael Warner. I'm so sorry. Objectively, it's the best Christmas movie. It's very, very good. I do also like Scrooge. I like Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim. I really like Scrooged with Bill Murray, which isn't that popular, but I really like it. It's like an updated version of it. Captain Bart Roberts loves the Muppet one. We need t-shirts and hats for when Labour win the election. It's that big flashing sign on my head saying, fuck yeah! Right, come on. Oh, by the way, we're doing Geoscope tonight, me and Ollie, at 9 o'clock, so look out for that. You won't get a notification because I've already put up a few videos today. I think you're only allowed 3 notifications a day. So look out for it. 9 o'clock tonight on this channel. Just tell you what we're going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about the GOP supporting Putin for some reason. We're going to be talking about Yemen rebels targeting shipping towards the Suez Canal. We're going to be talking about Viktor Orban, holding the EU aid package to Ukraine hostage, and the same sort of happening in the States as well by the GOP. And thirdly, we're going to be talking about Russia removing passports from civil service. Violent Night is the best Christmas film. Krampus, A Good Day, Monday Kumbo film. Bill Murray, the best a-hole on the screen in the 80s. Oh, I love Bill Murray. He's awesome. Scrooge is brilliant. Oh, it's really good. Quality film. Brilliant singing in Paint Your Wagon. Don't let Clint Eastwood sing. Right. It looks like it's coming to it now. I'm guessing this is on for past. Sorry, I only thought this broadcast would last 15 bloody minutes. And here we are, 45 minutes in. Well, 40 minutes in. Is Rishi in his seat? How are you thinking about taking a permanent holiday in California? He's got to wait till the UK-India trade deal goes through. We've got to get at least 300 hours.
Order.
Chatty Rat's already got it.
Eyes to the right, 313.
Yeah, they've got
The
it.
nose to the left, 269.
Well, Sunak managed to do it. He managed to pull it off with a majority of 44, which is all but 6, I think, of MPs.
The eyes to the right, 313. The nose to the left, 269. So the ayes have it, unlocked.
Okay, well, it goes through to the House of Lords now, where it's going to die.
The programme motion to be moved formally. The question is, as on the order paper, as many as are of that opinion say aye. The contrary, no.
Okay, right. Well, we'll drop the sound out for that now. Well, there you go. It was. It would have been interesting had it not gone through, but it doesn't matter. In the great scheme of things, the Rwanda scheme is ridiculous, expensive, and for all intents and purposes, it's dead in the water because it can't go ahead without breaking international law. And if we break international law, then the Rwandans have said they are not interested in doing it. So, how do you unpick that Gordian knot? I don't think you can. And then Viv is saying there's craven, sadistic bar stewards. Well, indeed. So yeah, a majority of just 44. That's only 6 or 7 MPs that either abstained on the Tory side or they voted against it. You can't say it's only a handful of them anyway. Essentially, it's like 3 of them may have voted the other way, or 6 or 7 of them might have abstained. Does that mean the Tories want? Yeah, the Tories have now got the Rwanda bill to go back to the House of Lords, where it's going to be blocked by the House of Lords, and then they'll say, "Oh, the House of Lords, it's unelected, and they're stopping us from doing what we want. The will of the people. The will of the people." Wasn't there a Marilyn Manson song that was very similar to that? The Rwandans are very noble to return all that money if they deem it against international law. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Back in the box, little Graham, says Captain Bart Roberts. Anyway, it is just past 7:30 here in Durham. I was just seeing that the Tories managed to, well, Rishi has survived to live another day as Prime Minister of the country, at least for a few more months until the next general election. And there are a lot of reasons why that might have gone down, but I think the main one is that no one in their right mind there's not many people in their right mind, that's a bad way of putting it. No one in the Tory party wanted to have a sixth Tory leader in just 7 or 8 years. But yes, so they're voting now on the timetabling motion for the Safety of Rwanda bill, a country that just a few years ago was shooting dead refugees for protesting, a country that routinely, its leader, Paul Kagame, who's been in charge of the country since 2000, been in charge of the country for 23 years, and he routinely imprisons and tortures his political opponents. Yeah, not great. Okay, see you later. Bye. And not you. Just saying goodbye to my partner. Unlike most parliaments that vote electronically, e.g. yes, no button by the seat, UK MPs walk into separate lobbies where there's a physical count. Yeah, they do. And Chatty Rat, I think that's quite ableist, and so do other people. But then, did you know that it's still on the statute books that you cannot be a member of parliament if you're deaf? True story. Graham, please get Phil to teach you about parliamentary procedure. The second reading, there is a committee stage, and third reading before the Lord. They have got nothing. They have got nothing. Well, I thought that it went to the Lords now. I mean, obviously got the committee stage as well, but basically the Lords can hold it up for up to a year. So it's very unlikely this is going to get through. But the Tories might try and use this as a way of saying, oh, we're being frustrated by the will of the people is being frustrated by the will of the Lords. Unelected chamber, blah, 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 blah. Which is a bit weird because you'll think that the Tories wanted to keep hold of the Lords because they like that kind of unelected chamber that they can fill up with people like Ian Botham, who was famous for once accidentally tweeting a picture of his own cock. Don't know what else he did in life, but yeah, and also Lady Semtex, Claire Fox, who famously supported the IRA even when she was the MEP for Warrington and other areas in the northwest, but Warrington in particular, which stuck in a lot of people's craw. The woman who defended the right of Gary Glitter to download what he downloaded. One Angry Pagan, beautiful people, Marilyn Manson, damn good tune. Yeah, shame old Brian Warner turned out to be a bit of a wrong un, eh? Didn't see that coming. It didn't look like a wrong un. Anyway, Lords only get it after the third reading. Okay. All right, Christopher. I'll take that on board. This is like essentially taking 15 years out from bothering even checking in on politics and then coming back into it and just going, oh, so much to relearn. I don't even like politics. I just want to travel. I'm like Billy Elliot, I don't want to work down the coal mine. I just want to dance. I just want to travel. I don't want to do this politics shit. Kigali is a nice town. It is. It is beautiful. It's built on 7 hills like Rome. I really like it. And it's quite high up in the mountains. So on the hills. So it's quite fairly cool, surprisingly cool for somewhere so close to the equator. You are doom and glooming. Well, I'm saying it's not going to go through. I don't think it's going to go through, but the Tories will use it as an excuse to try and win votes by saying, oh, if you vote for us, we'll get this through. This thing that's so important. It's more important than everything else that's going on in the world right now and in this country. More important than the cost of living. More important than the fact that people can't afford to repay their mortgages. People can't afford to pay their rent. People can't afford to pay for the heating. So come on. But there you go. The Man You Fear is a good track also. I was always quite partial to the cover, the Marilyn Manson's cover of Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics. That's just me. Right. I'm off now. I'll be back at 9 o'clock with Ollie for Geoscope. We're talking about politics around the world, geopolitics. And until then, thanks for watching. And in the morning, I'll be back for Morning Brew at 9:30. Normal time. And then I'll be back again at 12 o'clock for Prime Minister's Questions. I'll have a day off one day. It'll be grand. Until then, I'll leave you with the outro screen. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.